Hey, this is Captain Paul Brawley with Fish Finder Guide Service. This week we're going to be talking a lot about drains off the intercoastal. I don't know if you've been out on your boat in the last 10 days, but we have hardly any water. The water has dropped extremely. When I was a kid growing up, the low tide was in November. Now, it's now. So we're going to talk about that. If you come along the intercoastal just past the mouth of Corpus Christi Bay here, I'm not going to try to cover these things up. I'm going to try to circle them. There are multiple drains right in this area here, to include this channel right here, that you're going to want to concentrate your efforts fishing on. What I like to do is I like to figure out which way the wind's blowing, whether it be north, south, whatever. I like to float up on the opposite bank with the wind to my back. And when I say bank, I mean bank of the drain. So you would be on the west side of the intercoastal. Either if you're facing the drain, either the left side with a southeast wind or the right side with a north wind, and you're going to be throwing into those drains. I'm liking using live shrimp on about a 1/4 ounce jig head. I'm hooking them live and I'm throwing them way up those drains, and I'm kind of popping them off the bottom as if I'm imitating a lure. You will catch redfish, trout, and flounder in those drains right now. It seems like there's quite a few of them in them, and up and down the whole intercoastal, you'll notice there's a couple of more drains right here. This channel coming in here. Down here, there's a drain on either side. Anywhere up and down those drains is someplace you're going to want to look with your live shrimp hooked on a 1/4 ounce jig head and bouncing it off the bottom like it's a lure up and down them drains. All the fish are stacked up in those drains right now. All right, we're going to stick with our low tide theme. We're going to move over here in the boat hole. We're going to be looking in this area right here. I tried not to cover it up with the cursor again, but you see the water that is on the inside of the cursor right there. That whole area will be holding black drum, redfish, and speckled trout. Anywhere in that ring with the low tide, all these fish that usually live up here on this flat are either in these drains or they're right out here in that little drop off right there. We like to fish that quite a bit on low tides. The later in the day it is, the better you can depend on some reds. You can set out some waders and they can wade around this bend, throwing out here into this deeper water with corkies and pick up some probably pretty big trout through there, since you're getting your tide runner trouts coming in here from the Corpus Christi Bay. Or you can fish the very back of it here looking for redfish. I like throwing either shrimp on the bottom, or I like popping a purple with green tail, or a morning glory with yellow tail, paddle tail type of plastic, whether that be a power bait by Berkeley or whether that be a bait by Michael Bosey. Man, I can't even think of the name of them right now. I'll think of it when I don't need to in a minute. But anyway, in there you're going to be throwing paddle tail baits all through there, looking for redfish, trout, and then your dead shrimp out here on this corner. You're going to be looking for black drums throwing out into this deeper water. But that is kind of the report for that little bit of area, and we're going to be moving a little bit south from here. Okay, the lures that I had the brain freeze on are called down south lures, when we were talking about the cove over there in the boat hole area for the low tide fishing. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is we have several little channels in this area, and this will be for drift fishermen. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming off the tips of these channels, and we're going to be drifting back across to the Old Humble channel here. And then when we get over there, we're going to be coming back around and making long drifts back to the Old Humble channel. And we're just going to be coming back to the tips of these channels and drifting back all the way. There are some shallow humps around here. Make sure you stay off of those. So you'll be able to easily see them with the low tide. So just make sure you stay off of those shallow humps. But all that whole area has been holding some pretty nice trout. I'm drifting with a popping cork and a shrimp. I like my shrimp on a number 3 tail hook and about a 16 to 18 inch drop underneath a 4 horseman cork. So that's kind of the plan for the trout right now. And then if you get over here more in this big open flat, because there's no water in here, we all kind of know that. So from about the tip of Sulphur across to Peta, we're drifting this way on this big flat. We're also using the pop and cork, the shrimp. You can reduce your leader to about 15 inches through here. Live shrimp, number 3 tail hook, 4 horseman cork, and we're looking for redfish and black drum through there. So that's a pretty good plan for your next outing with the low tide. You have some pretty good strategies to go with. Also, any place there's drops, any of these drops like this would also work well. Both sides of this, depending on the wind. But you are not going to find much water in the shallows, so you're going to be looking to catch your fish on these drops. All right, well, y'all guys be courteous to each other, catch a lot of fish. Until next time.